Kia ora koutou. Nau mai haere mai ki tēnei kaupapa o te wā. Ko Helen Lloyd toku ingoa. I'm one of the learning specialists here on the Te Pūtiaki Mātauranga project team. Welcome to this webinar, number 25 in our series about kaupapa embedded programs at Tairāwhiti Museum. In a moment, I will introduce our speakers, but first, as usual, we will begin with a karakia. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mākina kina ki uta, kia mātaratara ki tai, e hi aki ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, tihei, Māori ora. So these wonderful wahine that are going to be speaking to us today, I am in awe of. I'm big fans of their mahi. And I first met them a little while ago, virtually met them, haven't met them face to face yet, although hopefully I will be doing that soon actually. So I was recommended by the staff at National Services Te Paenga to get in touch with the educators at Tairāwhiti Museum. When I first started this contract with Te Pūtiaki Mātauranga, they said to me, they're doing great work up there, you really need to connect with them. And I did, and I'm so glad I did. And the people at National Services were right, they really are doing really great work. And I'm so grateful for them to give their time and share their work and their knowledge and their experience with us today. In addition to this webinar, we've also been working together behind the scenes where they've provided us with a video, with an audio interview about ways that they support Māori medium learners in their setting, and that's part of the curriculum course that's now available for free on FutureLearn. Okay, so let me introduce our wonderful speakers today. The picture on the right of your screen is the lovely Te Manuhuia Paenga. She is a primary school trained teacher who's worked in the education sector for 11 years, including her current role as education team leader at Tairāwhiti Museum. And then on the far left, we have Ora Taukamo. She has a passion for teaching and has worked in the education sector for over 10 years. Having grown up immersed in te reo Māori, Kaupapa, kapahaka and tikanga, she is passionate about teaching to anyone who will learn. And in the middle, we have Jo Barbarich, who has experience in early childhood education, and she's the newest member of the team at the Tairāwhiti Museum. Today, they're going to share some of their knowledge, skills, and insights that they've gained from working with kura and tauira, both within the museum and out in the Tairāwhiti community. And they're going to describe some of their kaupapa Māori approaches to teaching and learning, along with how they MANAAKITANGA when they arrive at their place. You will gain some insights and ways to support Māori learners and understand some of the unique features of their amazing education programs. So, over to you, ladies.
Kia ora tātou katoa, nā tini āhuatanga o te wā, kei te mihi mātou kia tātou, ki tēnā o ngā wāhi, huri no tō tātou whare. He karakia mā tātou hei te matanga. Honore e kororia ki tātou ai mai ngā rongo ki runga i te whenua, he whakaaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa, he te matua nei mātou e mihi ana ki a koe e pā mo tēnei aiahi, ki te whakawhiti kōrero me te tuari ngā tāonga mawa mātou ki tēnō reira. Nei mātou, mihi ana ki a koe te katoa nā pouako o tēnei whenua, kei te mihi, kia ora tātou, more, āmene, kia āmene tātou.
Āmene.
Ai, takini. Kia ora tātou katoa, ko Ora Taukamo tōku ingoa, he uri a hau no tama te kapua, ka hungunu poraurangi materoa. No reira, kei te mihi ki ngā mātā waka katoa o tēnei motu. Been an educator so far for 18 months here at the Tairāwhiti Museum, and it's been the bestest role I've ever had in my whole life. And so kei te mihi a hau ki a tātou. My teaching background covers from kohanga actually to adult education. So I've been here, done that, and rangatahi. And then my specialty is te reo meo nā tikanga waiata, kapahaka me, ngā tikanga katoa o te ao Māori. Kei te mihi, kia ora tātou.
Tēnā tātou katoa, tēnā koe I te tuahine, nau I tākina te karaki I tēnei ahi. Tuaroa mihi ana ki te atua, koe te timatanga me te whakamutunga o ngā mea katoa. Ki ngā tini mate o te wā, haere atu ki te pō, tātou te hunga ora ki a tātou, tēnā tātou katoa. Tēnā tātou ko tai mai I te ahiahi nei, ki te wānanga ki te whakawhiti kōrero, I pāna ki te kaupapa. O te rā kia kōrua, kia hela me Mel, kōrua koto tīma, I nā kōrua I tono mai kia mātou o te Tairāwhiti, kia uru mai ki tēnei webana, ki te whakātu wā tātou mahi ki konei. Nā reira, ngā mihi nui kia koutou, kia kōrua. Ko wai ahau, ko puke hapopo te maunga, ko wai o moko te awa, ko ngā te kunohi te iwi, ko te Manuhuia Paenga tōku ingoa, he uri ahau no whāngarā, no Ngāti Porou. Yes, so I'm a primary school trained teacher, been in the education sector for 11 years, with the last 3 years being here at Tairāwhiti Museum. And having grown up immersed in Kaupapa Māori and Te Reo Māori, o Ngāti Porou me ona tikanga, I'm passionate about sharing that knowledge and that culture with our rangatahi, and feel privileged that I can do that through my role here at Tairāwhiti Museum. Ka pai. So I'll just hand over to our other educator, ko ka Joe.
Tēnā tātou katoa, tautoko ai ngā mihi ko mihia ki ngā karakia ki te tira whakahaere o tēnei huirangi, te pū tiaki mātauranga, o tira kia tātou ko hui mai nei tēnei. Tēnei ahi. He uri tēnei no te aitanga mahaki me te whānau a apanui, he hononga anō tōku ki roto o tauranga moana, ki pari hauraki, I tipu ake au ki konei, ki tūranga nui a kiwa. My name is Barbarich and I'm an educator here. Ko au te pōtiki, I'm the young bee working at the Tairāwhiti Museum. Tēnā tātou. Alongside our own mihi, we would like to introduce the pipiha of our wharetaonga. Ko waipuna te maunga, ko taruhiri te awa, ko tāriri te marae, ko te whānau a iwi te hapu, ko te aitanga mahaki te iwi, ko horauta, ko tāki timu ngā waka, ko te wharetaonga o te Tairāwhiti e mihi nei. So here's a bird's eye view of Tūranga Nui a Kiwa that highlights important landmarks, our traditional place names and our waterways. In our region, we have significant connections between our iwi from Pōtaka and Ngāti Porou through to our northern iwi te Aitanga Mahaki, to Rongo Whakata, and to Paritu, our southern boundary of Ngaitā Manuhiri. We deliver to all kura within our rohe, and our request we deliver to kura outside of Te Tairāwhiti. Here is an education video showing our mahi.
Ka whai. So that video just gave you a little insight into some of the programs that we do here at Tairāwhiti Museum. And on your screen now, you'll see our Tairāwhiti education booklet, and it just outlines the programs that we run here. So those are the main sections that you can see. Tō tātou wāhi, our place, ngā pūrākau, our stories, ngā taonga, the treasures, ngā toi, the arts, te taiao, the environment, and then we have a range of programs that sit under these. So totally and all up, we have 28 programs that we offer the kura from Te Tairāwhiti. And then with our secondary guided research programs, we also have programs such as Te Tiriti o Waitangi, the East Coast Land Wars, and Women's Suffrage. Our education team, all three of us are from Te Tairāwhiti. We've grown up in Te Ao Māori, learning the stories of our tupuna, and we're excited to be now sharing our knowledge with the next generation. All our educators speak Te Reo Māori, so we are able to offer all our programs in Te Reo and English. And when delivering to our auraki akonga, you'll still hear a lot of Māori being spoken, with the kupuhau, with waiata, karakia, haka, whakatauki, and general instructional language. So a focus of Te Ao Māori is embedded throughout all of our programs, through our learning context, the activities and the kōrero, and we also place a huge importance on MANAAKITANGA and WHANAUNGATANGA. So that means things like meeting and greeting tamariki when they arrive on the bus, and welcome them into our whare pupuri taonga. And in our mihi we'll address the pakeke, the pouako, and then akonga, like you would hear if you were on a marae. In our mihi, we also highlight that this space actually belongs to all of us, and we are all kaitiaki of these taonga. And we do this to help akonga feel a sense of belonging and a sense of connection. If a kura has come from out of town, we mihi to the whakapapa that they bring with them. So we acknowledge their maunga, their awa, the waka, tipuna, hapu, and their iwi. We also often make links to the kura through our own whakapapa, which creates that instant connection between ourselves and the akonga that are visiting. We show MANAAKITANGA and WHANAUNGATANGA by making them feel welcome and doing everything we can to make their visit enjoyable. So, for example, we'll be flexible to their needs around start and finishing times. You'll see in the photos up there on your right hand side, we had a kura visiting with 120 students. Our limit's normally 30 students just because of the space. But, you know, we will work with the kura to ensure that their needs are being met. So we're flexible in that way. From our coast kura that travel, they've got a long way to travel. We'll do things like go pick up lunch for them, and just provide a space for them for morning tea, for lunch, and just doing things like providing an inuwai for them. That's how we show MANAAKITANGA and WHANAUNGATANGA. To give an insight into what our programs look like, we've chosen a few programs that we feel are unique to our area, to Te Tairāwhiti and our wāhi noho, such as our Voyagers program that you'll see on your screen now. We use the New Zealand curriculum and Te Maraitanga o Aotearoa to guide all of our education programs, but we also acknowledge that kura have their own marae ākura, and a specific curriculum relevant to its learners and whānau. So when we're communicating with the teachers, booking them in, we talk to them about what their learning intentions are and what they've been learning in class around the topic. And that just helps us to build a relevant program for when they come and visit. And one that's highly engaging and for the akonga. So in the Voyagers program, akonga learn the stories of our local tipuna, and how they navigated to Aotearoa. And we use the context of our local pūrākau, such as the story of the Horota waka, the roles of the crew members, Pawa, Kiwa, Hineha Kirirangi, and also the naming of the Tūranganui Ākiwa surrounding landscape. And you'll see in those photos there, we're very lucky that we've got a star dome that we can use. And obviously we use taonga in the collections as well to teach voyagers. So we use a variety of teaching approaches throughout this program, including drama, music, waiata, haka, karakia, mahi āropu, mahi toi, hands-on activities, and technology with our ipapa. At times, we'll also invite the whānau, the hapu, the iwi, and the wider hapori to be a part of our programs. So acknowledging that learner-based and tribal-based and local forms of knowledge. We also can call upon our wider staff members here at Tairāwhiti Museum to bring their knowledge and skills and incorporate that into our programs. So it truly is a team effort to present our programs, which aligns with the whakatauki, e hara taku toi te tuataki tahi, engari he tuataki tini. So our strength is in bringing everyone together for the benefit of our Tairāwhiti tamariki. And so when delivering this program on site, we also use our taonga collection items, which you'll see on the left there, to help akonga make a connection with our history. And we're very lucky we have a number of education props where akonga get to learn by actually handling the taonga, which you'll see in those other two photos there with the taruki kaura in the middle and the tūwiri, or the drills that we use to make wakahaurua. Having these props available to akonga is a huge benefit. They just love the hands-on activities, and it often prompts more questions such as how did they make this, and what materials we use, and where would they have sourced these materials. So it's a really good questioning. And so we also offer this program on site here at the museum, as well as an outreach program where we pack our van up. You can see our van in the picture there, our spunky Tairāwhiti Museum van. And we take all our gears, including the Star Dome, out to kura, to the marae, to halls, wherever there's a big enough indoor space, really. And recently we've been up to Te Kura Kaupapa, or Kawakawa Mai Tāwhiti, in Whare Kahika, Hicks Bay, and also to Te Kura Kaupapa Māori, or Te Waiū in Ruatoria. And we're planning to head to Wairoa next term, this term actually, to deliver our Voyagers program. And we've also got a few marae booked in this term as well. So at times we may also incorporate a visit to local historical sites, so that place-based learning, which adds another layer to the learning, making it more meaningful for our akonga. So with our programs, we offer outreach programs. So some of those we'll see here as our taonga puoro. Auntie Ora leads that program, and she takes our taonga puoro out to the kura. We also do a monuments tour. So we visit all the monuments in Tūranga here. We've got a partnership with Eastwood Hill Arboretum. So we work with them to run programs out at Eastwood Hill. And Ngā Kēmu is our other program that we offer as outreach. So if the school requests, we can actually take our gears out to them and take the learning to them. And so we also have connections with local iwi, community, and the wider staff. And we often call upon these networks to help us in delivering our education programs. And at times it's our own wider staff members. So for example, for women's suffrage here, you can see our director, Eloise Wallace. She is a historian. And we also ask Jean Johnson, who is an academic, a researcher, and a women's studies enthusiast, to help come and lead and guide these research sessions with our kura tuarua. So having these people lead programs is a huge benefit to for our akonga, as they just provide that in-depth knowledge of the subject and making it a more rich learning experience for our akonga here. We also have great relationships with our local artists. So here at Tairāwhiti Museum, it's an art museum as well. So we have different art exhibitions happening every 3 to 4 months. They get changed out. And so we've got some good relationships with our local artists. In these photos here, a local kaiwhakaro artist, Matt Randall. He had a Te Hau Tahito exhibition here, and so we worked closely with him to provide learning workshops for our akonga. So it's really great to be able to do that also for our akonga. Ka pai, and I'll just hand you over to Koka Joe, who's going to take you through a couple of more.
Ka pai. Another unique program is East Coast Land Wars. The program includes an overview of the New Zealand land wars and uncovers the impacts and consequences of wairinga hika for the people of Te Tairāwhiti. Students investigate characters including Te Kōti during the turbulent time and the significance and impact of the actions of both Māori and Pākehā. Firstly, we would like to acknowledge our local and national sources who have contributed to the program through research and knowledge. Our iwi leaders including Papa Wirangi Pera, our kaitiaki Māori here at the Tairāwhiti Museum, Taharako Stewart, our Director Eloise Wallace, and Dr. Vincent O'Malley. For this webinar, I'm using a local whakatauaki we use in this program to describe unique features. Ko tūranga āmua, ko tūranga ararau, ko tūranga makaurau, ko tūranga tangata rite, ko tūranga nui a kiwa. Tūranga the ancient, tūranga the many pathways, tūranga of 1,000 lovers, tūranga people all equal, the long standing of kiwa. So within the planning of this program, it is about context and action through our Māori lens. The first part of the whakatauki, ko tūranga āmua, provides context to discuss our unique origins, the whakapapa of tū mātauranga and rongo, and the characteristics of protection and nurture. We communicate through our Māori lens that we are all descendants of atua. What are some of our own actions that are connected to tū and rongo? Ko tūranga ararau, this speaks about opportunities for all, mahi tahi, kotahitanga, working together in unity, and our Māori ways of being, whānau, hapu, and iwi structures. There are opportunities for interaction where students share their own learning opportunities. School and whānau values are shared. Respect is a common value. Ko tūranga makaurau, we discuss about not only the strategic alliances and marriages within iwi, but also ko tūranga makaurau is an expression for our natural resources, an expression of love for our natural resources, our connections to the land and waterways. We discuss traditional mahinga kai practices that show economic growth within the rohe. This gives context that our lands were and are still known for its rich soils. Naturally, this leads to the events that led to the land wars, intentions and impacts. Ko tūranga tangata rite, we discuss mana. Equal status is recognised and acknowledged. The context provides identity and sense of belonging. Students learn about groups and their leaders and the relationships between these groups and leaders. Ko tūranga nui a kiwa, this recognises our reo and localised place-based kōrero. Some students think that Gisborne Translated to Māori is Tūranganui Kiwa. So students build understanding that our Māori place names come with a pouako of origin. Our place name Tūranganui Kiwa comes from our tipuna Kiwa, who was the tohunga of the Waka Horaita. Again, this brings consequences and impacts to the forefront. So what are some key Māori approaches? Whakawhanaungatanga, establishing, growing and maintaining strong relationships with our sources of knowledge, our kura, community and iwi. MANAAKITANGA, ensuring a safe and comfortable space. How we communicate in action and how we actively listen. Whakapapa, affirming our lines of descent. Te reo me ona tikanga, whakatauki or whakatauaki enables students to see, research and investigate through spoken words. And planning and reflection, we are always reflecting on our programs. Research is important, as well as maintaining or naturally weaving our Māori lens within all of our programs. I'm going to hand it over to Ora. Kia ora.
Kia ora everybody. Ngā mihi kia koutou, aku hua mahi, kei te mihi, kia ora tātou. Ko taku kaupapa e ko harea mai e au. One of the kaupapas that we cover is Ngā Tamatoa Seat Company. So this is a very special program that we like to deliver. Our kaupapa is based around Te Kamupene Sea, Ngā Kaupoi, the sea company of the 28th Māori Battalion and its significance to the community. We make connections with the Tairāwhiti people, leaders and hoia that served the country during times of war. We discuss timelines and look at the Māori Battalion, the journey of key roles and the rangatira of that time. We capture the special spirits of the Māori Battalion, who were renowned for their courage and during battle nicknamed kaupoi or cowboys for their feisty spirit on the battlefield. Quote, Erwin Rommel said, "Give me the Māori Battalion and I will conquer the world." So what does that say? The picture you can see displayed in our Whare Kamupene Sea. Oh, it's also displayed in Whare Kamupene Sea. This picture here was taken in Egypt in 1946. Here they are, our staunch tipuna of two mātauranga performing the haka, the war dance, Ruo Moko. This performance was for the visit of King George II of Greece and his wife, and Prince Peter, the Major General of Freiburg. Our tamariki feel and connect to the brave men and women displayed in this photo. We connect through whakapapa. We relate to the stories of our tipuna and use these as examples for the future today and our future generations for te Tairāwhiti. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Tātou e te whānau, so this is one of the waiata, and I'd like to sing a waiata to you all today. Check the mic. This song is called Māori Battalion. It's my own rendition. It's very short. I hope you all enjoy. Kia ora tātou. Māori Battalion, march to a victory. Māori Battalion, so staunch and true. Māori Battalion, march to glory. honor of the people within. And they marched to the enemy, and they fought right to the end. For God, for king and country. Italia, Italia. Hope you enjoyed that, Waiata. Oh my gosh. So Waiata is a passion of thank you, whānau. Mwah. Waiata is a passion and a skill set of mine, and I use the waiata as a hook. I hook the tamariki into the kaupapa. It sets the scene for tamariki. It sets the scene for myself. Our wairua, with wairua, spirit, tinana, body, hinengaro, mind. It also opens up for questions and answers. I like to ask the tamariki, what did you feel during that waiata? What were some of the key words that you heard during that waiata? What did you feel? And yeah, it just opens the floor up for discussion. This is an example of how we create the initial discussion about our whare. So what I would like to ask you all sitting there, how did that waiata make you feel? Please drop a comment. Do you waiata? Do you share your gifts given from God? You know, because sometimes we need to, especially for this kaupapa. I feel I don't sing for all my, you know, for some of them, but this kaupapa is very special. So I feel like a waiata is definitely the way to start. So goosebumps. You can thank you, Julie. Well done, Julie. Do you sing to your tamariki? And how, actually, before we go into the whare, I like to do a karakia. Like before I start this program in particular, I do a karakia myself. I go into whare kamupini, see, greet the hoia and ask them to give me strength to say the correct, you know, to say their stories properly. And yeah, so kei te mihi a hei kia tātou. I hope you enjoyed that waiata. He whare, yes, he kōrero e pāna ki tō tātou nei whare. So here's our kamupini sea. It's situated to the left-hand side of our whare taonga. On the 15th of November 2014, several thousand people gathered in Kelvin Park. I think some of us were here. Auntie Pari, were you here? Oh, no. Okay, and this project was undertaken by Ngā Taonga a Ngā Tamatoa Trust in partnership with us, Tairāwhiti Museum. Our whare kamupene sea displays photographs of these men in their home, alongside with photographs. We've got photographs in there of the men and women of the Tairāwhiti region who saw active service during the war days, pretty much. And we've got taonga and military memorabilia in there as well. In our whare, we have resources to purchase, such as the Ngāta Matua book. Look at that, eh? So you can purchase these online. These are $50, okay? And all of the koha that we receive, like anything to do with whare kamupene sea, it all goes towards our whare, okay? So if you would like to, this is in English and Māori. There's also a DVD that comes with it and t-hates, t-shirts, okay? So we've got plenty more of them in the store and we need to actually get these out. So if you haven't got yours at your museum or in your kura, please, yeah, please come and, yeah, let us know if you want one of these Ngāta Matua books written by Monty Seta. Okay. Yes, moving on. Hapai. So let's have a little look. The entire frontage of the maho of our whare welcomes you. Okay, so koina te whakaro, that you may enter and feel the spirits of our soldiers who went to all wars. Once inside our whare, the patterns embrace you, such as takapo, koruru, potama, kaukau. There are 1,000 photos on displays you can see in the middle there on our whatu. For the tamariki to relate and make connections through whakapapa. And then looking at the resemblance at the generations of today, it's actually quite buzzy when we see one of the mokopunas relating to their tipuna on the wall and they have the same nose or same eyes, which is really cool. Inside our whare, we have our marae, as you can see to the right displayed, and we make connection to the East Coast, Matawai, Te Whānau Apanui. Our whole whare is quite visual. For examples, the colours, the lights, the carpet is all built with purpose and meaning. So we thank Sir Derek Lardeli for the amazing artifacts that line up to the whare and the kaupapa of our hoia and kamupini si. Kei te mihi, kia ora. Ka pai. So here are our pouako that Sir Derek Lardeli also erected. They are a unique feature that sit outside our whare. These pou represent the 6 iwi that make up Sea Company and resemble waka bringing ashore the wairua of our many deceased hoia. Throughout all the symbols, patterns and colours, the pou and how they are placed, there is an element of wairua. So there's an element of wairua, I feel, throughout the whole program that ties into the whakaro and of the purpose. Yeah, the whole purpose of the whare being built lines up to the kaupapa of Manuhuia or kamupini si. We show our students and we talk about whakapapa. The waka then allows our students to make their own connections to the strong Māori. There is quite a nice Māori out there. The wairua of the space as a whole, has its own wairua wama. The idea behind the wairua of these poses is that they're a tribute of affection to our papa in their physical form, that they're embodiment of an affectionate greeting by the house to all. Here we go. This is our connection. So when I'm delivering this program also, I'm thinking about our connection to our great tipuna, such as Apirana Ngata of Ngāti Porou, who led and liaised as a politician with government, also the Tairāwhiti Māori Land Court. Ngata held mana and stature of our community, and we looked up to him, our ancestors did, for advice and education. We talk about Ngata and how he played a very important role here in Te Tairāwhiti and especially up the East Coast there. We discussed leadership. What does that look like? How can I be an apirana ngatoa tuini ngā wai o ngoi pe whairangi? How can I just be myself? So we talk about Tuini. As we all know, she's a great composer, no Ngāti Porou ia, songwriter, and she wrote songs such as Arohaina Mai. Arohaina Mai, e te kinginui. So she wrote songs like that. And we talk about Wipiri, his leadership. So we come from quite a long line of leaders, just like everybody else. But I think in particular with this particular program, it's awesome because they can actually, there's the example, and they're up in our whare, and our tamariki can look up to our examples of, our tipuna, our great tipuna. So here's my last quote. Anei taku kōrero. Hold fast to the spirit of those who have gone before us of kamupene si, rare beings, survivors, for they are the epitome of what it is to be Māori. Nō reira, anei ahau mihi ana kia tātou ngā tini āhuatanga o te wā.
Wow.
This here, as you can see on the picture on the left, we're actually in a professional development there, and Chotek is short for Te Runanga o Tūranga Nui a Kiwa. They are iwi-led. So they go out and they teach all the pouako about pouako, which is stories of this area. And you can tell where they've gone to because it lines up. We're lining everything up to the stories so that when they go to kura, they hear that story. When they come here to the Tairāwhiti, they'll hear that same story.
and then we support it with taonga coming out. So it's awesome to see them getting out amongst us, and we're all able to deliver the same kōrero. Yeah, you know how there were 6 sisters, but now there's 9, or, you know, things like that, getting our kōrero correct. So, yeah, kei te mihi, kia ora tata, I'm going to hand it over.
Ka pai. Our second kupu awhi, planning programs with kura in mind. Yeah, it's just really relatable in terms of that values. What are the values of the kura that you can align with as well? That kōrero about pouako, recognising the kōrero of the whenua of the kura, and using taonga to be able to bring that kōrero alive, like Ora said just before, when we have that professional development, learning about the pūrākau, the kaiakoa talking about it, we're talking about it, and so it becomes a very natural discussion and kōrero that all our tamariki can hear, see, feel. Ka pai.
Ka pai. And our last point there for our kupu awhi was to, we encourage everyone to build strong relationships with your local hapu, your local iwi, the hapori, the wider community. Invite whānau and people from the community in to be a part of your programs. And if you don't have those relationships with local iwi, yeah, well, get out there and attend those community events just to build up those relationships. Ka pai. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. Aroha mai mo te timatanga. Ki te e parakatahi mātou, we had practice and everything ran smoothly. Hoi anō, pai ake kia mātou te tūtaki ākanohi.
Yeah, yes.
So a te wā pia ka tūtaki ākanohi tātou. Engari, kei te mihi kia koutou I tai mai I te ahia I nei ki te whakarongo kia mātou nei.
Yeah, me. Thank you.
Nā reira, ai, ngā mihi kia koutou katoa.
Yay. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. That was amazing. And don't worry about the technical hitches at the start. It happens. You're right. You did practice anyway. It was great. You've given us so much to think about in your presentation, and you've hit a first. That was the first webinar with a waiata, live waiata being sung in it, and judging from all of the amazing comments that you got in response to that waiata, that really touched everybody. So thank you so much for that. That was really beautiful. I've learned so much from you. I've been writing copious notes about your programs and your approaches, and I really appreciated your kupu awhi for us at the end here about how to help us develop our programs and strengthen our programs. If anybody's got any questions, go ahead and raise your hand or place them in the chat. As always, I've got questions of my own, so until I see one that's been written there or somebody raising a hand, I'll go ahead and ask my question. I'm really keen to know, you've got such a wide range of programs there. I'm just interested to know what your most popular programs are, which ones the students seem to request more than anything.
Ka pai. Okay, yeah, so our most popular programs would be Voyagers, especially with the Star Dome. We have a lot of requests to take the Star Dome out to the kura or out to local marae. I'll have to say though, with the new Aotearoa New Zealand history curriculum coming out, there has been an increase in requests from kura for our East Coast Land Wars. For Voyagers, we have a First Meetings program also, Te Tiriti o Waitangi, so we are seeing an increase in that. Yeah, it just differs though. Some terms it could be one program and then the next term it's a totally different program. So, but consistently I'd have to say Voyagers is our top program.
Oh, ka pai, I just saw the pātai about ko wai te kāpene o Raitawaka, ko pāua te rangatira, ko kiwa te tohunga. So pāua is the captain and kiwa was the navigator.
So we've got a few questions there now. The one at the top from Julie was the first one, about the use of your van. I think you said you use it for outreach so that you take yourselves out, but do you, I think the question is, do you also bring students in using that van?
We don't. So the van, it's just used for us to take our gears out. It's not really suitable to bring tamariki in. And saying that though, if we get a request from a kura that need help with their transport, I'll go to Eloise, our director, and she's very generous in trying to help our kura come into the museum. So if possible, we could help with transport costs when we can, not all the time, but sometimes we can. And then the other option is, of course, for us to take our tonga out to the kura. But we do encourage kura to come into the museum to view our beautiful tonga and to make that connection with the tonga here at the museum.
Nice, that's great that you're able to do that. There's another question to do with funding here. How does your mahi get funded? This is Rosina asking. Our LEOTC Marae program, which ran for the last 15 years, has just lost its contract. So they're thinking about other ways of trying to fund their work. Have you got any suggestions on that front?
So we're very lucky that we were successful in the latest ELC funding round. So that does fund most of our costs. And saying that, if we have extra costs like things like the Star Dome, we've got a group here called Friends of the Community. Friends of the Museum, sorry. And we often go to them with a proposal, and they can sometimes help us out with the financial cost. Other than that, it's working. Eloise is quite good at finding suitable grants and things like that. So yeah, if we need to, we might work together with her to apply for different funding grants. Yeah, but yeah, Eloise would probably be the lead in that side of things. We just go to her and ask, can we do this? And then we get a yay or a nay. It's usually a yay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our funding.
Awesome. I'm just going to jump down because you mentioned your Star Dome, and there's a question a bit lower down. I'll come back to the others in a minute, but there's a question about the Star Dome. Where did you get it, and has it paid for itself in the number of visits it's gone on?
So the Star Dome was purchased before my arrival here at the museum. I know they got it from overseas. I'll have to check on the paperwork from exactly where. It does. I've often heard comments about how much it costs. So yeah, I think definitely we use it all the time. Our programs are free of charge, I must say. So we don't charge the kura to come and view the Star Dome. When we use the Star Dome in the holiday programs, we just ask for a koha, but there's no pressure there. So yeah, definitely with the numbers that we get through with our programs, yeah, it's definitely paid for that cost of the Star Dome.
There's a question about people who make resources. So I think this must relate to the slide you showed us about your handling collection and some of the objects that you have available for students to touch and use. And there's a question about where to source those kinds of objects. So if you've got any advice about that, somebody's trying to grow a handling collection.
Yeah, so we're really lucky. As I said in our presentation, we've got good relationships with local artists. So we just approached them. Again, these tonga were here, our handling props were here before I started, but yeah, my understanding is that we asked a local kaiwhakairo artist, and they were able to make these tonga for us. So yeah, I would just suggest if you've got any networks out there in the community, those networks with local artists, and just ask them to see yeah, what sort of material or what type of tools or things you might want made, and just contact them. That's what we do. Auntie Ora's ordered some things. Do you want to talk about what you've ordered? Hang on, I'll just...
Yeah, so I actually order porotiti in bulk. And that's actually one of the companies in Wellington. I don't have that name on me, but I will get that. And they make porotiti and pūrerehua in bulk. So I get a little box of porotiti. It's about 500 of them, but we just buy the string and you just got to thread them up. So that's usually a couple of evenings. And then pūrerehua. They also design pūrerehua. That's if you have, because at some museums, though, educators make their own. Can make their own porotiti and pūrerehua. So I'll get that link. I'll add it on to the comments when I find that out. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely in Wellington there, Mel and Helen.
Okay, thanks, Ora. Good tip. So we've got another question here from Pare. Do you have any particular targets for equity for Māori students?
No, so our targets are just the general. So we've got a general number. It isn't broken down into ethnicity or anything like that. Although as we try to, sorry, Pare, access.
Pare, feel free to take the mic and if you want to ask directly.
Kia ora, Pare.
Very
nice to see a familiar face.
Ko te Tairāwhiti, ka mai tu ihi. Mana wahine, tēnā koutou. Hey, just the pātai is, I wrote that question before I heard that it's no cost to come into your place. So that was kind of relating to are there any barriers to Māori students accessing? And if there were, what are those barriers and what are you doing about it? But the fact that, utu kore.
Karehia atu ki te uru mai ki te whare taonga nei, and ina kare tai te hara mai ki konei, ka haere tātou ki a rātou. So yeah, but we have our own goal. We try to at least visit all our kura onto Tairāwhiti. So that means travelling up the coast and then all the way down to Wairoa as well. So yeah, we're very privileged that we can offer our programs with no cost.
Wow. I'm just blown away by you guys. You're amazing. I'm so thrilled to have you. And it's really great testament to you, the amount of people who've come today to the live event and so many questions for you. So your kōrero is very, very valuable to us. So thank you so much for all your amazing mahi. We are over time, so sadly I have to bring this party to an end. It's been a really great webinar. Really enjoyed listening to you. Thank you so much. And the recording will be a great resource for people to look back on and revisit and learn again. So thank you so much. So before we say goodbye, I just got a couple of things I need to let you know about. I know that some of you are already aware of this free online course on the Future Learn platform, because some people who are in the webinar today are actually actively learning in that course right now. But as I mentioned in my introduction, if you sign on to that course, you get 4 weeks of free learning. You can learn at your own pace, at your own time. And we have some great insights in there from our wonderful educators here today, so you can hear them talking about the way that they support students as part of this course. There's a whole section on supporting Māori medium learners, and there's another section about the new histories curriculum content, amongst lots of other things. So I encourage you all to sign up. It'd be great to have you in that course. There's some really rich conversations happening between learners about different things in that course at the moment, so it'd be great to hear your opinions as well. And our next webinar is on Thursday, the 11th of August, in 2 weeks' time. Judith Uri, who is Associate Principal of Northland School, is going to be talking about her experiences of classroom teaching and bringing tamariki to museums and galleries and other places, and her approaches, her pedagogical approaches, which include play-based learning and her approach to inquiry learning, which is very child-centered and about listening to tamariki. So that's going to be a really interesting webinar. I hope you can all come along to that and join us for that. And we'll close with a karakia. Unuhia, unuhia, unuhia ki te uru tapunui, kia wātia, kia mama, tinako, ti tinana, te wairua I te ara takatā. Koia rā I rongo, whakarirea, ake ki runga, kia tina, tina, hui e, tai ki e. Mā te wā koutou,